Good morning. Hayom Yom, Nissan, the third day of the Omer. Generally, on Friday afternoon, before we daven Mincha, we say two paragraphs. The first paragraph is Hodu Lahashem. That is taken from Tehillim, capital Kuf Zayin, 107. And it's actually the Baal Shem Tov who instituted that we should say that on Friday afternoon. After that, we say a second paragraph, Pasach Eliyahu, and that is one of the introductions to Tikkunei Zohar. Now, the reason why we generally say Hodu Lahashem on Friday afternoon is because if you read the introduction to that kapitel, it says that you're meant to say that kapitel anytime you were saved from a perilous situation. You thank Hashem for saving you. So when we make it through the whole week, when you survive the whole week, so to speak, and you made it to Shabbos healthy and unscathed, we thank Hashem for getting us through the week untouched, unscathed, spiritually or physically. So that's why we say it. Now, says the Rebbe, if Friday is a Yom Tif, it's a holy day, it's a Yom Tif or a Chol Hamoed, then you still say Pasach Eliyahu on Friday afternoon, but you do not say the first paragraph, you do not say Hodu Lahashem. And the reason is because were you to say it, that would be a gnai, that would be an insult, so to speak, to the holiday which is on Friday. Because it would basically imply, thank God I made it through Friday, thank God I made it through the Yom Tif, and made it to the Shabbos unscathed. But the Yom Tov itself, Friday itself, is a holy day, it's an elevated day. And that's why we don't say it. Okay. In the rest of the Hayom Yom, so it is taken from a diary entry of the Frierdiker Rebbe, and in that diary entry, the Frierdiker Rebbe tells us a story about the great Chossid, the Rashbatz, Reb Shmuel Betzalel. And he actually was not raised as a Chossid. He was raised as a misnagid. But long story short, he finally joined the Chassidim, and then he finally made his way to the town of Lubavitch, which is the center of Chabad. And he arrived in Lubavitch late Thursday night, Parshas Mishpatim, in the year 1848. And then the next night, Friday night, he came to Shul, to daven, for Shabbos. And after Kabbalah Shabbos, it says, the Shul started getting very packed. It really started filling up, and it became very pushy and squishy. And the Rashbatz asked people around him, he said, what's going on? What's about to happen? And they said, the Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, is about to come and shir Torah. And sure enough, a shvil opened up, a pathway opened up, and the Tzemach Tzedek walked through to the front, and then he started a Maamar. And the opening words of the Maamar came from a pasuk in that week's Parsha, Parshas Mishpatim, on the words, Im kesef talvez ami, which literally means it's actually a commandment that says that if you see a Jew in financial distress, if you see a Jew that needs financial aid, he needs a loan. So if you are financially able, you have a mitzvah to give him a loan. That's the mitzvah. But the Tzemach Tzedek explained the pasuk in a little bit less of a literal sense. And he said that the word kesef in the pasuk, so besides for meaning silver, money, it could also refer to a human soul, to a Jewish soul, to a neshama. And the reason that's so, the reason why the word kesef, silver, refers to a neshama, is because the Hebrew word kesef, besides for meaning silver, another meaning it has is to ache for something, or to long for something, or to really want something very strongly. And because of that, the word kesef could basically be taken to mean the thing, or the object, or the being that aches a lot, that has these strong feelings, that longs for something. And that being is the neshama. The neshama is the one who's longing for something, is aching for stuff. Now, the Tzemach Tzedek proceeded to explain why in the world is the neshama referred to as kesef? Why is the neshama referred to the one who's aching, the one who's longing for something? What's the neshama longing for? And he said we can understand why the neshama is referred to the one who aches, the one who's longing, based on another pasuk in Koheles. The pasuk in Koheles says, Ruach ha'adam hi ha'ela l'mayla, which literally translates as, the spirit of man rises upward, it ascends, while the spirit of an animal goes downward, it descends. And what that means simply, what Rashi explains, is that the human soul, so after it dies, it's going to ascend, it's going to go up to heaven. It's going to stand trial and need to give an accounting for everything it's done in its life, for all the choices it's made. So he says because of that, a person has to be very careful what they choose to do in life, because everything they do has consequences. Not like an animal, which after they die, their soul doesn't go anywhere, they don't have a trial, their soul goes down, there is no trial, and therefore they don't need to check their base instincts. They don't need to control themselves, because their actions have no consequences. That's what Rashi explains. But the Tzemach Tzedek said we could actually interpret this pasuk in Koheles in a deeper sense based on a passage in the Talmud. The The Talmud tells us, and the Talmud is discussing the laws of impurity. The laws of impurity from a human corpse. And over there it says that a Goyish corpse, the corpse of a guy, doesn't transmit the same kind of purity that a Jewish corpse does. A Jewish corpse is more impure, so to speak. Says the Gemara, how do we know that a Jewish corpse is more impure? So it says because in the pasuk that is describing that particular impurity that it's talking about, it says an Adam will transmit that impurity. A person will transmit that impurity. But it uses, for a person, it uses the word Adam. And then the Gemara proves that that specific term for a person, the word Adam, is only used specifically for Jews. It says, Atim Kriyam Adam. You Jews are called Adam. Whenever we use the term Adam, it refers to Jews. And because of that, when it says in the pasuk, an Adam will transmit that kind of impurity, it only means a Jewish corpse transmits that impurity. A Goyish corpse does not give off that impurity. Says the Tzemach Tzedek, based on that passage in the Talmud, that every time the word Adam is used, it's referring to a Jewish soul. Based on that, we can interpret the pasuk in Koheles in a new light. And it means as follows. Ruach ha'adam hi ha'ila l'mayla. It is the spirit of Adam that goes above, that transcends. It's the neshama spirit, it's the Jewish spirit, which is pushing upward, which is pushing for more, which is yearning for something beyond itself, which wants to transcend itself, which is longing for something beyond itself, which is aching for something beyond itself. The animal soul, the nefesh bahamis, is not like that. It is very complacent. It is very happy to stick where it's not longing for anything. It is happy with life. It is very fixed in its ways. And that's the meaning in Koheles. So in other words, we see that it's a neshama which is constantly yearning, constantly longing for something more, constantly aching. And because of that, it's appropriate that we call a neshama by the word kesef. A neshama is called the being that is constantly kesef, constantly yearning, constantly aching for more. And says the Tzemach Tzedek, based on this, we can now read the pasuk in Mishpatim, the whole pasuk, in a whole new light. We read it as follows. God says, Im kesef talvez ami. The kesef that I've given to my nation, the silver I've given to my nation, the souls that I've given to my nation, I've given them on a loan. They're not free gifts to do whatever they want. They're given on a loan. And what that means is, if someone gives me $1 million, so if they give it to me as a gift, I could do whatever I want with it. I could throw it in the garbage if I want. I could blow the money. But if someone lends me $1 million, then I don't want to blow the money, because if I blow the money and comes time to pay and I don't have the money, then I'm in a lot of trouble. I need to use that money responsibly so that when the time comes to pay back, I can pay back. I have all the money, and hopefully I'll even have made some money on the side. So based on that, says the Talmud, God is telling us, God is telling human beings, God is telling Jews, you should know, the soul I gave you, the opportunity that we call life, the amazing opportunity of life, is not just a free-for-all, do whatever you want. It's given to you, the soul you have was given to you on a loan. You're expected to pay up, to pay back. And there's a time when the loan is going to end, when God's going to call in his loan. That's when a person passes away. And the clock is ticking. We have to manage our lives responsibly. We have to manage our kesef responsibly to make sure that we can pay up when the time comes. And basically the Rebbe proceeds to say that therefore every day is extremely precious. All our time is extremely precious. And we have to get on it and not be blowing our time, not be wasting our time recklessly. We have to use and maximize our time. And then the Rebbe quotes a pasuk from Tehillim. The pasuk is describing God's creation of man. And at the end of the pasuk it says, Yamim Yutzara, which means, and God created days, which we take to mean that when God created man, when God created me or you, he created the amount of days he's going to live. He decided how many years, how many months, how many minutes, how many days, how many seconds you're going to live. In other words, he decided an end date for your loan. And you have to make sure to utilize your time to use your kesef wisely, so that when it comes the time to pass away, God forbid, when your time is up, when it comes time to pay back, you can pay back. And then the Rebbe just concludes by quoting the Zohar says, if a Jew wastes an opportunity, you waste a day away, you waste a minute away, you waste an opportunity, when your neshama passes away, when your neshama goes l'mayla, your neshama will forever be lacking a levush. You have lost an opportunity for growth forever that you can never ever make up. You lost an opportunity for growth. Have a fantastic day.